we need more bone meal. It's a fact of life. Cactus is green, stone is gray, and we need more bone meal. The way we're gonna get this bone meal is through a moss farm, because, I think supposedly moss farms are good for bone meal. Supposedly. Before we make the moss farm, however, I do want to show you guys some progress I have made since the last episode. For starters, this entire area is now clear. So, no more chest monster, and no more random farms. Glow lichen was moved over there, and our chorus fruit was moved all the way over there behind the bee farm. And I also determined that, that upgrade to the tree farm I offhandedly mentioned, wouldn't really work or be effective or whatever. So, we're not doing that right now. It might be better after we have a better supply of bone meal, but at the moment, I'm not going to switch anything with that. Now, on to showing you guys the design I have so far for the moss farm. So, as far as moss farm design goes, this is what we have so far. So we have the moss that will be bone mealed to, you know, spread the rest of the moss, and then we have stone generators that are sort of linked up together, keyword sort of. So, you've seen so far what it's gonna do. I'm gonna figure out the timings for all this stuff, and then I'll show you it again, and then we'll work on tidying this up and making it slightly less of a monstrosity. Good news, I have everything linked up to one switch, and it all works. We are generating moss. Bad news is it is a complete and utter monstrosity, and we still haven't done any collection systems or anything, so, we still got a lot of work to do. The first thing we're gonna do is ignore the collection system and work on making this slightly less terrifying, I guess. So, I'm gonna get started on that. And I will see you guys in probably a couple hours, if we're being realistic here. And so I have, in fact, tidied it up a bit. This entire contraption is probably going to be a little bit smaller in our survival world, but we've sort of got a plan down, so it is time to try and recreate this. Keyword try. After recording that clip, I realized that we haven't figured out a collection system at all. We don't have a collection system. Nevertheless, we shall continue. So, I've actually ended up changing where I want to put the farm itself. I want to put it down over here. There's just a bit more room than up here, so that's where we're going to be putting the farm. Now, the first thing that we are going to do is realize that half the planning that we did in that creative world is not actually going to be relevant to what we're actually building here. Second thing we're going to do is set up the stone generators, and we're going to put it so that there is one over here and one over here, instead of doing whatever weird frickin' double... I don't know what's going on in the creative world, I'm gonna be real. So, we're gonna put one stone generator over here, and one stone generator over here. That's what's going to happen. And so, we now have stone generators. This is actually less messy than the way I had it in the creative world, so far, we're doing better. Moving on now, we have to set up the dispenser to, like, you know, dispense the bone meal to, bone meal the moss so that the stone gets turned into moss so that we get moss. That makes sense. So, we now have moss that has been acquired, so the dispenser will dispense the bone meal, yada yada yada. Unfortunately, we now have to, like, do the thing where it'll get rid of anything that pops up on top of the moss block, so that the moss can get bone mealed again, so that, you know, moss generates. So, I think I'm actually going to hop back into a creative world. I know, we might actually end up using stuff from the creative world this time, though, to see if there are any solutions other than the whole piston thing, because that was annoying. Actually, I want to test something. So if I take some stone, and if I find a fence, grab the bed in case it gets, like, too late for wandering around without getting killed, I'm gonna grab a fence, I think. And why am I looking in the potato drawer? I'm gonna grab a fence, and then I'm gonna put the fence on top of the moss block, and see if the moss block mosses when the fence is on top of it. I think that made sense. The moss does not moss with a fence on top of it, which means we are actually going to go over to a creative world now and figure it out. So, I wasn't able to find any, like, super cool, ooh, game mechanic solution, so we're just gonna use some water. It's not all that complicated. So, I've got this dispenser hooked up to the redstone system over here, and then I also hooked up the bonemeal dispenser to this redstone little circuit thing. So now it is time to work on the collection system, because that's still rather important. So, first thing we've got to do is lay down some hopper mine carts, and then we are going to have the hopper mine carts put it off somewhere, and then from there we'll, like, sort it into, like, moss that's being stored and moss that is being into bone meal. Then from there we're gonna have to sort out the bone meal from going back into the farm and getting stored away. So that's gonna be a bit annoying, but for now we're just gonna lay down the rails. So I have set up the collection system, so rails are now laid down, and, you know, all that fun stuff. So I do need to put redstone torch there, but other than that, I think we're good. No, we're not. We don't go all the way up the thing. So... okay, that's annoying. 1 second. Okay. So, ignore the arrows, there were some pillagers, but I fixed the whole hopper situation, and then I also filled in all the stone and bone mealed it, because I think that has to happen in order for this to work the first time we run it. Keyword think. But now all we have to do is get rid of this, block there, block there, right? So that happened, and now you just need to put, like, how much was it? How much do we need to put in there? We're gonna put in 10, because that's the first amount I saw. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Okay. We need a repeater. We need to put a repeater here and a piece of redstone there. And then we'll be fine. Then we can try this again. So, in an absolute moment of genius, this redstone link up top doesn't loop up to the redstone link below. So, we're not actually generating any stone. So, that's fun. Wait, I have levers right here. So, we're gonna stop everything there. I then proceeded to spend the next 5 minutes completely failing at figuring out how to connect the 2 redstone strips. So, we're just kinda gonna skip over that, because I figured it out eventually. So, on an update of things that have happened, because several things have happened in the process of connecting those things, I realized that A, the dispenser wasn't being reached by the redstone, so we have a different setup for that now. And then this have been switched to sticky pistons and a block in front of it because the pistons were pushed back by the pistons over there when redstone, once again, wasn't reaching it. So I needed to switch those out, and I'm too lazy to like break this, have the lava go everywhere, yada yada yada. So we're just leaving it like this. Now, on the course of problems that have happened, the water, everything's hooked up to this one clock, right? So the water is taking too long to dispense and then, like, pick it up. So the stone is being pushed out faster than the moss is being made. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, given, you know, it's all on the same clock, but it is. So we have got to put this on a different, slightly faster hopper clock. I think it's just gonna end up being, like 5 instead of 10 or something. I don't know. But that's what's going to happen. Or we could do the piston thing again and have it. We could put an observer over the center, the main moss block, and then have it react whenever the. Okay, I have an idea. We have acquired a working solution, and actually, for the most part, a working farm. Ignoring the fact that we don't have a sorting system yet. So, originally, my idea was to have the observer, you know, observe the main moss block, and then that would activate the water thing, but that just ended up being, like, the water dispenser would get activated so fast, like, it wouldn't ever actually, put away the water. So that didn't work. So now we just have a piston on the opposite loop from the other pistons. So when these are off, this is on, and when this is off, those are on. Which works, which is great. And now we have a moss farm, aside from the fact that this is what we call a storage system. So, also the fact that we're gonna have to, like, make this look half decent at some point in the future. But, like I said, that's in the future. So, now, storage system. And I actually have an idea for making this look good. I think, like, make it look like a hill or something. Although, gotta get right up here to turn it on and off. I don't frickin' know anymore, man. Alright, let us. Sorting system. I'm gonna need hoppers and stuff, so. You know what? We should probably plan this out spatially first. Probably gonna have it come in over here, and then I want it to end up in like a silo looking thing, because I think that could be cool, but. Alright, we're planning out spatially how the frick the storage system will work. But to do that, I need to actually build up a mock-up of this storage system. So we're going to a creative world. That'll be fun. We might not end up using any of it. That will also be fun. So I am now going to present to you all the absolute monstrosity that is the sorting system that I have come up with. So, this chest here is where all the moss from the farm will be stuck originally, and then it'll get pulled down by this hopper cart and put into these two hoppers evenly, one of which will just store moss for, like, building and stuff. The other of which will put it in this chest, which will then pull it down into these two hoppers, one of which... Oh my gosh, I did this wrong. So, it's supposed to be that it's pulled down into this hopper, into this composter, of which it gets, basically, I'm gonna rebuild this over here so I don't have to dig down, but basically we'll have the composter one hopper going that way. Wait, no. Okay. Houston, we need brain cells. Okay, so we do this. Take our hopper cart, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be pulling out of another chest. Basically, it's just going to be sorting the bone meal out from going back into the system and being stored to use in other farms and whatnot. So now we gotta build this up in the survival world, and I also just realized that the way that I have the dispenser set up, there will be no way to add more bone meal to it, so gonna have to fix that as well. So here we have the sorting system put into the survival world, and as you can see, it's just as much as a mess in here. So this will be the hopper that eventually leads over to the dispenser. This is the hopper that will store moss, and this is the section that will store bone meal. So obviously this is going to end up like rows of chests and stuff. Don't know how we're gonna do that quite yet, but bigger problem is that we now have to have the hopper over there go over to the dispenser, which is not going to be fun. So I made my job bloody impossible, didn't I? Right, we're gonna have to rewire the pickup system. Right, I'm gonna have to, like, whack this with a hammer a couple times. I have no freaking clue. So, I have fixed several problems. The first one was that, the way I had set this up, the hopper wasn't above the composter, which it needs to be above the composter to put the stuff into the composter for some reason. So, that was changed, and then, as you can see, we now have the hoppers linking up to the dispenser in the middle, which I did kind of just end up sacrificing that one space for a hopper, so some items now won't be picked up, but it's barely any, so honestly, who cares? Not me. So we now have the hoppers linked up over here with, like, just a lot of redstone. I don't freaking know why it works. It just does. This hop dropper is connected to this redstone clock instead of, like, sensing when something's in it, cause this is far too small a space to put something like this. Someone somewhere probably knows a smaller way to make this work. I am not that person, so this is how it is going to be. Where am I? Okay. So we now have a semblance of a moss farm. We do need to make it, you know, look pretty and figure out, like, the storage system where that's going to be located, how we're going to, like, get at it, all of that stuff, but that's going to happen next episode, so I will see you guys then. This is Sckriket, signing off.